Ready? Okay, sit up. Can you hear? Do you know who that is? Ladies and gentlemen, J. Gordon McInnes. I'm not going to say your full name. Kaia McInnes. Say hi. Wave. There we go. That's one noise more than the last time. Welcome to... Okay. Can you say your name? Say it. Just look there. Look at Al and say your name. That's it. Just one time, then you can have this. Come on. You're gonna call. Okay. Welcome to episode 302, final episode of year 2024. Someone has a cold, that Christmas cold, and we're just gonna run through some highlights of the year, some things in 2025. This is gonna be a quick one. There's some, I'd almost say some deceit going on out there, but there's some interesting things happening, so we're just gonna touch on those, and then I'm gonna leave you for a few weeks. Just let you relax, let Al relax. Doesn't have to trudge all the way in here anymore. It's gas station coffee. Turn down my grade A coffee. So, episode 302, the 2024 wrap up. What are we starting with? We're starting with new taxes. So we all know, or we don't, but we're about to, how the city needs their money. So what they like to do is up the taxes. So 2025, we have a approved 3.9% property tax increase for the city of Vancouver. That comes along with their $2.34 billion operating budget. So to fund services and infrastructure and the likes. So as we may know, it's a good time to revisit because not a lot of people do know. Property taxes are derived by an equation which is referred to as a mill rate. So we've gone into this before. Property taxes, they pick an amount payable per $1,000 of your assessed value. So basically what they do is they get the budget, they reverse engineer it. What are we going to work out as a mill rate this year? And they base that off of your taxable assessment value. And it is, for the city of Vancouver, for example, year 2022 was $2.69 per $1,000 assessed of your assessed value, times by millions and millions. 2023, $2.78, so a 9-cent increase. $2.78 per $1,000 of assessed value is your mill rate for property taxes. 2024 was $2.96, so almost a 20-cent increase per $1,000 of assessed value, and we're getting that increase for 2025 as well. So as the budget balloons, as fiscal incompetence continues, as I will highlight in a second, to such degrees, they just reverse engineer that budget and your taxes go up and pays for it all. So that's the Cole's notes on how that's worked. So that has been passed. There's a new City Hall, Civic District, the City Hall campus, if you will. So there's that, we all know City Hall, the beautiful old structure with all the highlights on the edges. The bureaucrats need an upgrade. They need a new office. They need new offices. You need new condos, they need new offices. They have a 10-year plan. They've got a north and a south project plan, but City Hall campus has been, the master plan has been approved. We've got 3 new towers. We've got 960,000 new square feet coming, among many other amenities on this 8-acre parcel, which is not heavily used right now. We've got some park space there and then the main building, but they're adding 3 more. Again, just under 1 million square feet. You're gonna have parks, you're gonna have treed areas, you're gonna have Japanese gardens, all the things that the bureaucrats need to do the best job for you. So, cost estimate, naturally not disclosed. They're not going to tell you what they're going to spend on those new chairs and new toilets to sit on, but it is a 10-year process and a 10-year plan, so you know. So you're going to be upgrading them for the next decade. Well, your kids will, because obviously they don't have the money to do it, so the debt comes in and they're going to pay it. This little one will, right? You want to pay that? You want to pay for that upgrade? Oh, we're going to have a much deeper conversation after this time. As we all know, again, current forecasted municipal deficit, Jesus, they do it in 2-year lumps. So the 25-26 forecasted deficit, 43 million, a meager 43 million, on top of the current provincial deficit of 9.4 billion. So there's just federal, what is it, 62 billion. Freeland didn't come out with it because we're going to talk about that in a second, but some other minion from the group came up and read it and then ran out of the House of Commons, so she didn't have to answer questions. But 62 at the top, 9.4 on the provincial, and now we're forecasting 3 million. Those are billions, of course, but 43 million proposed deficit for the next 2 years. So that's great, and they're getting all new buildings because why shouldn't they? Money grows on trees. Also, you may have heard, Vancouver City Council has passed Mayor Ken Sim's motion to embrace Bitcoin, a Bitcoin city, if you will. So they're looking into payment of city taxes and fees to be allowed to be paid in Bitcoin. If you own Bitcoin, you know number one rule about owning Bitcoin is never spend your Bitcoin, but that's a whole other story. You're going to be able to do so. Purchased as a reserve asset also is on the table, purchasing that with public funds, of course. If we're deficit spending, everyone's got opinions on investing or gambling. I'm not going to give mine here, but if they're in the hole, I mean, very subjective here. But anyway, staff will be coming back in the early part of the year with thoughts on how to integrate that into the system so we can further leverage that in our system. Yeah, so that's new, that's been passed as well. So new taxes, new spending, new investing. As we know, obviously on the political front, one step higher, that $63 billion, 62 point something billion dollar deficit by the federal government. It hasn't really been talked about yet. Freeland quit. Apparently now they're saying that she was fired on Friday, but on Monday she wrote the letter that came out. So it's for finance minister. She's now been replaced by another guy, but she's kind of been the, you have to look at the camera. You can't just be spinning around. She's been the, I guess, bullseye of all things financial for the current federal Liberal Party. So she has been removed or removed herself. So that will be interesting before lying over the last month about how much over the $40 billion guardrail she was going to go, if any, and she added another 50%. So that's fine. She, obviously not her alone, the collective. Sean Fraser, once immigration minister, then when they maxed out there, he got moved to housing minister. He is out. He has resigned, so I think he has seen the problem. I think they've both seen the problem and said, well, we've screwed up big enough since 2015 that this problem is not solvable, at least by our minds. So let's just take a walk out the back door. I presume they are all pensioned up and rolling, so it doesn't really matter to them, but they're both out. So that's interesting on the top level. Now on the real estate level, as we've seen, so what have we seen this year as a wrap up? The home price index has of course grown as we've gone into over the last few weeks. Different levels. We've got a Greater Vancouver detached home price index started the year at 1944. You've got to stay up. Posture, your mother always talks about. 1944, straight back. Your legs are too short for the chair. They started the year at, moved to 1997, 1.99 million. Of course, apartments, 750 to 752, and then townhomes, 1 million to 1.1 million. So we've got increases at all levels again. And again, in the environment we've been going through for the last specifically handful of months, but we'll give this 12 years, 12 months, still increases on all levels. So with everything that's been done with the rates, everyone hoping it was going to fall and they're going to get 1990s prices again. Yet again, waiting has unfortunately screwed you. And we'll talk about a forecast for 2025 at the end here of how screwed you just may be. As we talked about last episode, 301, is this 302 or is this 303? This is 302. 301. See, my brain is just erasing. It's like a fish every 7 days. It just erases everything behind. Many new schemes coming out again to allow access for real estate to become easier. Money, as we know, getting cheaper, which we'll talk about in a second as well. The rates, let's jump into that now. So variable now has come down 1.75 this year. So we're currently at 3.25. We were at 5%. They held that 5% for 6 consecutive meetings. And again, in the last however many, 5 meetings, I think, they've come off 1.75 collectively. So we're now at an overnight rate of 3.25 that your variable rates will be based on. Bank sprinkles on their money because we all know they can't go without. And then you're looking at a prime of 5.45 right now. So you can probably get a prime. I'm looking at renewing my mortgage January. You're looking at prime, I've heard, as good as minus 90. So you're at like 4.55 right now for variable. Fixed, as we know or don't, that does not follow these rate meetings. Interest rate drop. We're removing or we're softening the cost of variable money. So when the bank meets every week, or sorry, every basically month or two, they have their, are we doing anything with the rates? Are we not? That's going to affect your variable rates. That's going to affect your lines of credit, your HELOCs, and all that sort of stuff. But when we go fixed, that's the bond market. So the bond market right now, 3-year bond, for example, I was looking at 3-year rates for myself again. So this is just anecdotal here. For what I'm seeing, you're looking at a 3-year bond right now is 297, and 3-year rates you can get is 419. So 4.19%. So still cheaper than variable for now. Very subjective how far this interest rate reductions go on the variable side. Is it again going to become cheaper than fixed? We don't know. So beginning of the year, January, these January rates began basically, the bond yields, for 3 years of the year began at 3.65. We high'd at 4.29. The low was 2.81, and now we're about 2.97 that the bank is going to base your fixed rate off of. So that's gone up and come down, but we've ended lower again. So obviously both sets of rates have ended lower at the end of the year. Prices have ended higher, which unfortunately is no surprise. 2025 predictions. Are you bored? It's her mother's death stare right there. 2025 predictions. I believe the January, I think it's January 31st or something, rate reduction. I should have looked for that. Or rate meeting. I think they will reduce the variable rate again. The dollar is getting killed right now, the Canadian dollar compared to the US, that is. Obviously, we are in shambles of a dumpster fire at the federal level with a lot going on, which if you watch any level of news, you've seen. So I do believe the variable rates, of course, the unemployment rate is again kind of climbing horribly. So the variable rate, I do believe, will get reduced again in January. The bonds, I don't know. I have no idea what direction that's going to go. I think we're going to see activity continue to pick up. The last 50% drop before the December one, we had a lot of activity, a lot of people coming off the fence, and I think the December drop was too close to the quiet time in December, which we're in now. So I think that is going to start to reflect in January. And at the end of the day, I think we are going to see more people in the market. We've had 2 full months of double-digit increases in activity. I think that's going to continue. And I think waiting is not the best option as a buyer. I don't know the prices are going to run right away, but I do believe that we're going to get that consistent activity starting out early January and running forward. Much the same as we've seen for the last 2 months. What do you think? Good? That's enough? That's it? No more? Too long? Okay, you gonna say bye? Merry Christmas? You gotta look. Merry Christmas? Happy holidays? Can you at least say bye to Al? Wave at him? Okay, that's horrible. Okay, thank you again for your year of attention. I look forward to starting again next year, early, maybe mid-year, maybe first week, second week. We'll get into that. You'll see when it comes. But I wish you all a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas if you celebrate that, or everything else you celebrate. Enjoy it with the family. Hopefully it snows soon. Thank you again, and you gotta